Going on YouTube, Cloverbells here back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be doing another team building session, and it will be around Groudon. So we did Kyogre before, right, a couple of videos ago, and now it's time to do the other weather partner, and it is going to be Groudon with the sun stuff, right? So Groudon is expected to do very well in Scarlet and Violet, right, just because not just the fact that it brings out the weather, but it enables so many different partners, especially now in Scarlet and Violet with all of those Protosynthesis Pokemon, right? So that's the main value out of Groudon, okay? And of course, it's a nice little Kyogre nemesis that we've all loved and seen, you know, throughout VGC history, right? It's always a rain versus sun war when it comes to these restricted formats, right? So basically, this time around, Groudon's got some new friends, right? In previous formats like Sword and Shield, you used to do stuff like Venusaur and Charizard, Dynamax, you know, G-Max Vine Lash in the sun, G-Max Wildfire in the sun. Not anymore. Okay, now we've got new friends, new partners to play with. Okay, but really what it comes down to, again, now is the fact that you get also a new item to play with, and that is the Clear Amulet item, which means now you can't Intimidate cycle this thing, right? That was one of the boons against Groudon, is that Incineroar could come in and intimidate this thing and reduce its attack, right? And if you were unfortunate enough to Dynamax this thing, well, there goes 3 turns of your Dynamax of dealing not as great damage, right? But nowadays, now you've got Clear Amulet, and now the Incineroars start saying, uh-oh, okay? Which is why they've opted for Will-O-Wisp on their sets. So this way, if I can't burn the Groudon, if I can't intimidate the Groudon, I can at least burn it, right? So you've got that going for it. But all in all, there's so many different ways to build Groudon. I'm going to show you a couple of the common ways. And of course, then from there, you get to try it out and then make adjustments as you see fit. But, you know, just to introduce some ideas, of course, you're going to need to start out with some easy Protosynthesis mons. I think the easy choices right here is, of course, Flutter Mane and Raging Bolt, okay? I would just do something like this. You always want to start here, right? Because these are 2 of the strongest Protosynthesis mons, right? There's others, of course, right? But I think these are just the first ones that come to mind, in my opinion, right? Just something like this. Then it becomes easy, right? Let's add our patented duo of Incineroar and add the Rillaboom, right? The double fake out boys are coming into play, right? Because again, now the Rillaboom gives you a little bit more of a Kyogre matchup as well, along with Raging Bolt. So that's good. Incin, great into both Calyrexes, right? You need this dark typing on your team, right? You're throwing if you don't have like one dark type. Okay, you make it a little bit difficult, but this is easy, right? And then, of course, you have Raging Bolt. You got 2 fake out users. You know what that means. You're going to do some Calm Mind shenanigans, okay, with some lefties along with Rillaboom terrain. This Raging Bolt is going to get a lot of recovery, and it's going to be a nice, good, solid, bulky special attacker on your team, while Flutter Mane will be the fast glass cannon on your squad. You know, with the speed boost from the sun, you know, you can get advantages with stuff like Icy Wind to get the speed in your favor. So this way, your slower Groudon can get the upper hand in that case, right? But this is an easy 5 to start with, right? Then this last slot here is more of like a flex slot. So I was testing Farigiraf for a bit in the early get-go, right? Just because, you know, I get access to Trick Room. I get to deny priority against Groudon, right? Because, you know, Rillaboom exists, so I don't want to be taking Grassy Glides to the mouth. Okay, you get to deny that. Same thing with other stuff like, you know, Urshifu or Chien-Pao, that kind of thing. You get to deny Sucker Punches and you know, Aqua Jets and whatnot. But that being said, you know, it's not necessary, right? Because you got fake out pressure here, double fake out. You've got Calm Mind set up, okay? And then Groudon's kind of slow anyway. So, you know, this is still welcome, right? You can even do something like this with Chien-Pao, right? So Chien-Pao now over here makes, you know, Rillaboom and Groudon will do more damage. You could approach it like that, and that has worked as well. Or you could do something like this and go Grimmsnarl here, go the Rinya Groudon route. You know, remember Rinya's son back in Sword and Shield, the idea with Incin and Grimmsnarl. You know, damage mitigation, okay? You know, screens and parting shot into Groudon or Raging Bolt. Chill behind the screens, deal a ton of damage, set up Calm Mind, right? Look, you got double fake out and screens. You know, very easy to set up Calm Minds. And also Swords Dance Groudon. By the way, yes, this will be a Swords Dance Groudon. So, yeah, I just think Swords Dance is so good, right? The fact that you can't get intimidated makes it so that Swords Dance and even Bulk Up get some good uses now, right? So I think both are very good. Just depends on how you want to play the Groudon. But either way, some setup move is appreciated on the Groudon. So lots of different ways you can technically do it as long as you've got those 5. But you know, just really all depends on how you do it. So for the sake of the video, right, I chose to do it with Farigiraf because that's what I was testing early on. But I'll show you other Groudon builds after this one, right, that, you know, can also feature other Trick Room users, like, for example, Bronzong and Porygon. And then even another partner, you know, besides Raging Bolt, you can even feature Walking Wake and even Gouging Fire, right? Because Gouging Fire Groudon is also pretty good. Howl boosting the Groudon now. That's also another thing that you can consider. But we'll see. We'll show all of that as we progress through the team building video, right? But anyway, let's just round out the team here. So here we go. Precipice Blades, of course. And then you have the Heat Crash. Again, Heat Crash doing a lot of damage in the sun. Okay, and that's going to be good when you enable Gouging Fire Heat Crashes, right? So keep that in mind. Over here, Incineroar, very standard. Safety Goggles. Flare Blitz, okay, Parting Shot, okay, and then, oh yeah, we can't forget Fake Out, right? Then over here, so you have the option, again, like I said earlier, to go for the Will-O-Wisp, right? Because, again, you can't Intimidate Cycle as much anymore, but you can Burn, okay? But if they go Terra Fire, then you're out of luck. So what you need to end up doing also is going for the knockoff first, remove the Clear Amulet, and then start cycling your Intimidates, right? So that's the way to approach it. And it really depends on how you want to do it. But because I don't really have too much dark damage here, I'm not going Snarl Raging Bolt. I kind of need the knockoff in this case. So that's how I have to play it in this case, right? Flutter Mane over here, I think Choice Best is still pretty solid. A lot of damage. You know, we are going to be going a timid route, but I do think Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, and Shadow Ball, along with the Icy Wind, is the way to go. Now, that being said, sometimes some setup Pokemon are going to be annoying, right? And this is where maybe something like Perish Song is still valid. I haven't really used it, okay? I've had more value, this is when testing, right, out of Icy Wind. So I think this is still okay as of right now, today, you know, April 17th, okay? So yeah, bear with me, right? But I think this last slot here is very interchangeable. But I do like Icy Wind Speed Control along with Trick Room. So this way you have at least 2 things for Speed Control, right? Then over here, Raging Bolt. Of course, you're going to be going for Thunderclap priority move, right? You know, that's really good against Kyogre, of course. And then Urshifu Rapid Strike without a doubt. And even Ogerpon Wellspring, right? Very good value out of Raging Bolt. This time around in this gen. Then over here, of course, you can pick your little Dragon Pulse idea. Oh, that's a lot of ends there, right? Dragon Pulse. You could do Draco Meteor. However you want to do it. I think either one's okay. I do think Terra Fairy is important, you know, for that defensive Terra type, right? Even here, over here, Terra Fairy is going to be good. Instant Terra Ghost with the fighting move. That's why you do it. Then Groudon here, I think, again, also Terra Fire. You know, again, the burn is important, and then even like just getting a little bit more damage, you know, out of your fire type attacks if you decide to go that route as well, right? But all in all, again, this is also pretty good against Rillaboom too, right? So, you know, give that a consideration. But then, and also ice types, right? So Terra Fire is so good. Rillaboom here, so grassy terrain, Assault Vest here. Okay, just be super bulky. Give me the Fake Out. Give me the Grassy Glide. Give me the Wood Hammer. Okay, and then you can go for the U-turn here, right? So nice little pivot move. Then Farigiraf, very standard stuff here. Again, just, you know, being able to sit here and say, look, I'm going to click Helping Hand. I'm going to click Precipice Blades. I'm going to hope things melt. All right, either way, I'm going to set up Trick Room for my Groudon, or I'm going to set up Trick Room against your Tailwind. So this way, you know, your Tornadus is not going to be doing that much, right? Psychic over here for Amoonguss. Decent damage there. Dazzling Gleam, of course, with the Terra Fairy for the Dark Resistance, of course. Where's that thing? Yeah, there it is. All right, and then over here, so you've got Goggles here. So you have the option. You can even do something like Citrus Berry over here. It gets a little difficult because now the Calyrex are running around. So you could even put something like, you know, Rocky Helmet over here just to get a little bit more chip damage. You can even do Mental Herb over here so that you don't get taunted, right? But, you know, you are denying, like, you know, Tornadus taunts anyway. So, you know, maybe it's just a little bit better to go Rocky Helmet this time around. But if you want the berry, feel free to go with the berry. But this is it. This is basically what I have here for this particular Groudon build. I will show you more later on, okay? But in terms of EVs, I think it's pretty easy in terms of what we want to do. But, you know, we'll start here with the Don itself. So I just think Adamant Nature is just always going to be good. And, you know, you don't need that much speed on your Groudon. If anything, you just need like right around this much, if anything. Like, you know, just maybe about 20, okay? Right? This is okay. Even 28, you know, just for like the mirror matchup is okay. But no more than this. Then you just max the HP. You can either do the first bump here in 76 attack investments, or you can do 156, which is the second bump, right? And then just dump the rest here like this, right? And again, if you don't know what EV bumps are and you're trying to get better at creating EV spreads, you know, in competitive Pokemon, make sure you comment in the video below asking what are EV bumps, because they are a very fundamental skill to understand, especially when you're first team building teams, right? Because you don't know any damage counts. You just want to go for basic benchmarks and bumps and then just get to testing, right? And then make adjustments later on. So this is what I have here. This is the second benchmark. Here's the first one. And again, if you do this route, then you're not going to be hitting as hard. But this is Groudon, ladies and gentlemen. This is base 150 attack. Like even 76 investment, 198 attack is still very, very strong. Then you can just add more to the bulk like this, right? And then that's your Groudon set, all right? But if you want more Spadef, this is the way to go. Otherwise, take away 80 EVs here and go to your next bump here in your attacking stat, right? But you got Swords Dance, right? So, you know, for me, I rather go for the bulk, try and survive things, and then set up. So, you know, that way I can, you know, just hit hard while hiding behind my bulk. All right, Incineroar here. I've used the same Incineroar spread, you know, forever. It never fails me, right? Pretty much almost max HP here. Okay, and then give me the second benchmark here in Spadef. Very much more important this time around because there is something called Calyrex Shadow Rider running around. A little bit of speed, you know, for the mirror, right? I always go to about 28, 36 investments. Okay, usually under Tailwind, this will be good enough to outspeed something like a Landorus Incarnate. So I don't have to take an Earth Power. I can Parting Shot myself out of there. And then after that, you just dump the rest in defense, right? So that's really all you need out of your Incin. Okay, Flutter Mane here, same thing, right? I'm going to tell you something about Flutter Mane. I think I'm going to make a little bit of an adjustment and go to one of our other Flutter Mane spreads. This is the one we've always used, right? We've always done something like this, up to 189 to outspeed the max speed modest Flutter Manes and the modest Chien-Paos, modest Adamant. All right, and then from here, you do something like this, 116 HP, 196 defense. This is the calc to survive Ice Spinner Chien-Pao, okay? I'm sorry, not Ice Spinner, Icicle Crash, right? But I feel like with so much terrain running around this time around, I think a lot more Chien-Pao are going for more Ice Spinner this time in Regulation G. So for that reason, Ice Spinner does a little bit less damage than Crash. So what we can do is sacrifice some of that and just simply go like this, right? And now our Flutter Mane does a little bit more damage than 60 investments while still having good solid defensive bulk. Again, you've got Incineroar as well, so that's going to help you very, very much. All right, then over here, Raging Bolt. Listen, I just want modest, okay? I want right here about 188. Again, this is 187 is the benchmark here, but I want a nice solid even number because I'm going for these Calm Minds. So, you know, again, when you click Calm Mind, multiply by 1.5, you've got an odd number here. Odd number times 1.5 is a decimal. Decimals round down. I don't want my attack stat to round down. I want a nice solid whole number. So let's bump it up one more to an even number like this. Give me an optimal HP number for Rillaboom, Grassy Terrain, and Leftovers. That's going to be 224 right here. Again, perfect recovery. If you just do a little bit of math on your calculator, 224 divided by 16th, right? Because 1/16 Leftovers in Grassy Terrain. That's how much HP you're going to be getting back. Perfect 14 HP recovery per turn. There's our benchmark for our HP. After that, have at it, right? After this, a little bit of speed, maybe like this much, 1 point in the bulk, you're going for Calm Mind. The rest can go right here. This is very good against Chien-Pao, Icicle Crash as well. So lots of good defensive bulk here from the Raging Bolt, along with Calm Mind, and then Incineroar here giving you Intimidate support. This Raging Bolt gets a little bit more difficult to remove. Imagine Miraidon, right, with this stuff here, right? Miraidon's even more bulkier. Here's our Rillaboom. Adamant Nature. I like going here this time. I want to do a little bit more damage. So let's go to 196 here. I used to do this, right? Max HP, 116 investment. but there's more things with more base stats running around. So I'm going to take off a little bit. Let's go 192. Let's still keep the benchmark. Let's go 196 investment. A little bit harder hitting Rillaboom. All right, some speed is good, right? Maybe this much. I gotta be careful not to speed tie the Groudon. So here's 114. Rillaboom going to 113. That's good. And that's really all I need. All right, and then after that, you know, just a nice, solid, even number here. Let's go this much right here. Something like this, right? Let's get, you know, 100 Speed F. Okay, and then just dump the rest into defense like this. I think this is okay. All right, to start. Farigiraf here. So I always EV this thing. Where's the relaxed nature? I always EV this thing to like be super bulky. And I go about this much. This is good enough to at least survive Urshifu Jolly Wicked Blow without having to Terra Fairy. So that's what I go for. And then after that, you just dump the rest here in Spadef. Again, very, very general bulk here on your Farigiraf. You can adjust this later on if you wanted to do a little bit more offense or a little bit more Spadef. But either way, this is still like pretty good. But for Rillaboom, Grassy, you know, Terra Fire over here. And then Farigiraf here, again, we kept it as Terra Fairy, right? So this is a very easy Groudon idea in the get-go, right? It's actually not the one I'm gonna really advertise, but this is like the basic one to get things going, right? So again, double fake out to enable the Raging Bolt Calm Mind stuff. You can even do that with your Groudon Swords Dance. And again, Flutter Mane and Farigiraf, they can give you some forms of speed control with Icy Wind and Trick Room. And then at the end of the day, deny other priority moves. So you've got that going for you. Okay. And, you know, all in all, it's very, very solid, very, very standard. And again, this slot here, if you want, again, you can do Screens, Grimmsnarl. You could do Chien-Pao over here. Very flexible slot. You could even do Porygon if you want. Okay. But this is one idea. And what I'm going to show you is just a couple test games with this build. And then I'll show you the second idea that I have with Groudon, and in my opinion, I think it's a little bit better. Well, maybe not better, but it's different, and it's also effective, and it also gives you another set of tools that you can play with. But let's take a look at some games here. Okay, this is against a Calyrex Shadow Rider team, but interestingly enough, he's got Iron Jugulus and Iron Bundle, but there's no Miraidon. Instead, he's got Calyrex. That's a little bit unusual. He's got double Fake Out, double Intimidate with Incin and the Hitmontop, which also gets access to Wide Guard, right? And he makes it a little bit tougher to bring Incineroar because of his Ogerpon, the Defiant one, right? But, you know, again, I've got Farigiraf here, so, you know, I can always, you know, click Trick Room to deny his Tailwind, and then I can stop him from clicking Fake Out. So all I have to do is just partner it with a very, very strong Groudon, and I should be okay. So he's going with Jugulus Calyrex here, so that's fine, because I've got Farigiraf, right, you know, waiting to click Trick Room against his Tailwind, so he's not going to be clicking that. So I am going to be clicking my own Trick Room, right? But unfortunately, he's got Taunt. This is why you need Mental Herb sometimes, right? And he goes for the Nasty Plot in front of my face, right? Heat Crash doesn't pick up the KO. Okay, so I can't do that. He's +2, and I made a choice. I went for the Terra here. Air Slash into Farigiraf here, and then Astral Barrage just absolutely annihilates the Farigiraf, which is, you know, again, he did that. And I didn't even need to quote unquote Terra. I would have been, I would have been interesting, right? But I did it anyway. All right, I was a normal type, so I'm surprised he did that. But anyway, Flutter Mane comes in. Okay, I'm faster. Iron Jugulus just melts. He chooses not to Terra. Okay, and then I'm just pressuring the Calyrex all the way through. All right, but that was his main source, right? Iron Bundle comes in, but there's no Quark Drive for you, buddy. So Dazzling Game does a ton of damage. Okay, now he goes for Freeze Dry, not even into the Groudon, but now we just melt the bundle, and that's pretty much all she wrote here, because now, guess who comes in, all right? It's going to be Incin, but I've got the Clear Amulet, so that's not doing anything, and Flutter Mane still has the speed advantage. The Calyrex wasn't able to steamroll here because we always had the speed advantage, thanks to the sun giving us the speed in that sense, and that's pretty much all she wrote. All right, this one is against the Calyrex Ice Rider Trick Room stuff, along with the Blood Moon Ursaluna combination, right? This is one of our, I think we did a team building on this one, right? When we did Calyrex Ice, one of the squads we showed was along with Farigiraf Blood Moon, right? So imagine Glacial Lance plus Hyper Voice. It's going to do a lot, but again, Groudon Sun is going to be good because he's got the Ninetales going on for him, right? So from here, it's just how do I position the Incin and the Groudon? That's really what it comes down to. And then at the same time, Rillaboom can do something because he's got Ogerpon and the bear, right? And he can only Terra one of these guys, so you know the other one will be susceptible if he does bring it, right? But anyway, so he's gonna go with Farigiraf, he's gonna go with Incin, right? So that's expected. He's trying to get Trick Room up, he's trying to get the Calyrex in after Parting Shot. I've got my own Incin. My Intimidate is faster, which means I have the faster moves right now. So he's going to go into his Ninetales. He's going to try and get the screens. He's going to take away my weather, which is fine. I'm going to Swords Dance because I know he can't Parting Shot my Groudon, right? I'm going to remove his Assault Vest with Knockoff. He's going to remove my Clear Amulet, so now he can technically position his Incin, right? I'm just going to go Terrify. He keeps the Incin in, right? But Precipice Blade's goodbye Incin, so again, he can't quite afford it. I'm going to get my Incin out of here. I'm going to recycle my Fake Out stuff. I'm going to bring in the Rillaboom. Let's see what he brings in. It's probably Calyrex now that he saw the Rillaboom. All right, and there it is. There is the Calyrex. Okay, no Trick Room yet. Okay, he goes for Farigiraf. Smart choice. I'm going to go into Incin. All right, no U-turn from me. I didn't want to risk it. But here's the P-Blades. That's good damage, honestly, into Farigiraf. But there is the Trick Room. So now I've got some trouble here. I can't click Fake Out. He's got the Farigiraf here. So I'm going to have to make good work here. But I do have Fire Groudon, which is great against the fire stuff. But he didn't just use Close Combat. So that's going to help me. The only problem is Groudon forgot to put his glasses on and hit the Calyrex. Did hit the Farigiraf, though. But after this, look, I've got 3 turns left of Trick Room. He still has a Roar Veil. Ninetales comes in. Here comes Rillaboom. I have 1 good turn of Fake Out here. And I do use that, but again, Groudon does forget to put on a little bit of his glasses, but that's still good damage into Calyrex, right? Could have even Heat Crashed the Ninetales here, so this way I can try and go for the 3-on-1 idea, right? But, you know, this is still okay, right? A little bit more damage with Grassy Glide. I know the Rillaboom goes down here, but at the end of the day, so does he, because now Groudon survives, and now Groudon gets to click the P-Blades, and that's pretty much all she wrote. He did not bring the Blood Moon, and he did not bring the Ogerpon Willspeak. 2 things that were weak to Rillaboom, he didn't bring it. So Groudon was pretty much free to do what it wanted because he had no answer for Fire Groudon. Alright, now I'm going to show you another build here that I think is also pretty interesting, right? And I saw this from a Limitless tournament, so I got some inspiration there. I don't remember who exactly I saw it from, but I thought it was pretty cool. So if you're watching this video and this was you, great, thanks. So I'm gonna keep Incineroar and Rillaboom here, right? I'm gonna keep my Fire Grass Core here, and now I'm gonna introduce double speed control here with Tailwind and Trick Room. How am I gonna do that? So I did delete the Farigiraf, but you can also do this with Incin P2 stuff, right? So I think Incineroar, Porygon, along with Groudon, this is a slow idea that has worked before, and Porygon's pretty good into Calyrex Shadow Rider, right? So you have that going for you, and of course it's very bulky to begin with. Then from here, I think it also just makes sense here for something like Roaring Moon, right? As another Protosynthesis mon. Okay, you know, now you get access to Tailwind, right? So you can do stuff like Breaking Swipe, you can do stuff like Knockoff, Tailwind, and then Protect, right? Oh, that's Tail Glow. Tailwind, hello. Okay, then of course you can do something like Booster Energy on the Roaring Moon. You know, if you don't have anything like for the Sun stuff, you can even do Clear Amulet over here. But I think just straight Booster Energy, you know, even when Groudon is not around, is still like okay. Then after that, I do think something like Walking Wake now can be played, right? So Walking Wake will give you this Fire, Water, Grass Core. But the thing with Walking Wake is it very much enjoys, you know, something along the lines of a Tailwind idea, right? And Roaring Moon can give you that. So here is your Double Dragon Protosynthesis idea, right? Because now Walking Wake also now gives you something into the Kyogre matchup too, because Water Dragon typing, think Palkia, also very nice. Life Orb user and all. So something like this with Hydro Steam, Flamethrower in the Sun, along with, what's that move? Draco Meteor, and then Protect. Okay, Terra Fire, of course. Then Roaring Moon, again, you know, just Terra Poison is pretty good. You know, this is like a more of a support Roaring Moon, right? You know, just clicking Breaking Swipes, clicking Tailwinds, clicking Knockoffs. And because of that, now you can technically afford to go Will-O-Wisp Sphere on the instant because you've got this Dark type in Roaring Moon, which is, again, very nice into Calyrex, right? So, and also even into the other Calyrex too, right? So the fact that you can, you know, Breaking Swipe it, well, first knock it off and then Breaking Swipe it is also very, very good. You can also consider Terra Fire here to be able to at least resist one of those ice type attacks, right? So that's one idea that you can consider, but you can also just burn it, right? But this is what I would do, right? Because now, look, you've got Trick Room, okay, and you've got Tailwind on your side. So you can play both modes if you want. Groudon's pretty fast in the, under Tailwind, and you have enough speed, right? All you need is 112 to outspeed Calyrex Shadow Rider, right? If you have 114 under Tailwind, now you still outspeed Calyrex Shadow Rider, right? Now you can do a little bit of speed creeping in that sense. So that's pretty good. And then, of course, you still got the double fake out stuff to be able to even set up your Tailwind or your Trick Room, as well as your Swords Dance here, right? So you've got that going for you. And then over here with the Porygon, of course, you're going to have the Eviolite. Then Terra Blast, Terra Ghost is pretty cool, right? With the fighting move, okay? And then at the same time, deal some big damage into the Calyrex after Trick Room is up. Then Ice Beam, that's for other grass types. That's for Landorus Incarnate, for example. And then, of course, Recover, right? Just getting some good HP back, I think is the way to go over here, right? So this is what I would do with this 6, right? And I thought it was pretty cool when I saw it in a Limitless, right? I was like, you know what? I think I want to build around that 6. Okay, then from here, what do you want to do? I think you just do it like this, where you just go Timid, max speed, and then almost max special attack, 1 short. So this way, 177 is more than 176. So now, if anything, you get the speed boost, which is what you want, right? So just 1 point in everything else, right? Just round it out here, and that's all you need out of Walking Wake. Then over here with the Roaring Moon, so I just wanted to calc for a few things. I wanted to calc with Intimidate support. Can I live Urshifu Close Combat, right? Adamant Urshifu Close Combat, and I can, right? That set looks like this. First of all, I'm going to go Jolly. Right, I'm going to go to about 196 gets me to the 180 benchmark, which is what you need to outspeed Ogerpon stuff. But other people are going to be doing this too, especially Miraidon, so I want to speed creep and go 1 point faster, a little bit faster. Okay, but in terms of defensive bulk, 140 was the play, along with about 156. This is going to let me survive the close combat from Urshifu after Intimidate. And even for the Chien-Pao stuff after Intimidate, you can survive all of that as well. So I think that's pretty worth it. And then after that, look, just 1 point here and 1 point here. Dude, like Roaring Moon 160 attack is still like pretty solid. It's okay. Okay. And this is like more of a support Roaring Moon set anyway. Again, like I said, breaking swipes, knockoffs, and tailwinds, right? Just being, just playing that support role. You got a lot of damage coming out with Groudon, Walking Wake, and then the support coming in with Instant and Rillaboom. So I think this is still okay. Right, then after this, who's left? Porygon. So I still like the Scotch Tape VGC spread, right? I still like that. So Quiet was the way. Okay, and then it was something like this: 252. All right, one point in the attack, and I'll tell you why in a second. Let me just get that in there. 1 point there. Not Quiet. Yeah, it was Quiet, right? And then it was this much. Right, this much left. Right, 92. I remember 92 and then 124, right? So the reason for this, right? This was the Scotch Tape VGC spread. I believe it was him, right? Hopefully I got him right. 101. So when you get the download boost, right? 101 times that 1.5 factor, right? That gets you to 150, 1.5, rounds down to 150, which is 1 point more still than the special attack. So this way you can get the physical damage boost. Right, and now your Terra Blast, Terra Ghost are going to really KO those Flutter Manes here, whereas opposed to the special one was not going to pick up the KOs. So you can do this, all right, along with the Terra Poison stuff is also pretty good if you want to go Terra Poison as well. And then from that, just a little bit of damage from special attack, right? It's still like a very good hard-hitting P2 that just clicks Ice Beam, clicks Recovers, Trick Room. You might even get those key freezes, right? But this is the way I like it. So yeah, I don't think there's any adjustment I need. I already adjusted the Incineroar here, but basically this is it. All right, again, Roaring Moon P2, again, now giving you Tailwind and Trick Room support. Walking Wake gives you now this Fire, Water, Grass Core idea. You can have Will-O-Wisp on Instant because now Knockoff is on the Roaring Moon instead. Okay, you get active form of Intimidate with Breaking Swipe now, not just the cycling with Instant. So all in all, lots of good damage mitigation, other forms of speed control. Okay, the only thing you got to watch out for, in my opinion, all right, is the Ice Rider a little bit. You do have 1 resist here, okay, but you got 1, 2, 3 weaknesses to the ice, but you also have 2 of them that can Terra and also resist that as well. So just something to keep in mind, which is also why you could even consider Bronzong on a team like this. I remember Atalanta posted that Groudon Bronzong team with Grimmsnarl. So I think that's another way to approach it, where you can just substitute this with Bronzong. But Porygon into Calyrex is just a little bit better of that matchup, right? And you can just burn the Calyrex Ice Rider. You still have ways around it, right? Terrafire Groudon can still beat it, okay? And then, of course, Incin can just burn it, assuming it doesn't have Terrafire. And if it does go Terrafire, then you just lose to Groudon, right? So that's the way I see it in that sense, right? But yeah, let's just see how this one looks. Okay, this one's against Terrapagos here, but this is about the weirdest Terrapagos I've ever seen. Don't play Terrapagos like this. Give me the instant Rillaboom fake out stuff with Comfey, right? The Sinistra is just like a worse Comfey in this case here, right? Along with Farigiraf. So I don't know what this guy's doing, but either way, I will still respect the squad. I still think Groudon is a good lead here against a lot of what he has, and Roaring Moon that can give me speed control here. So there's the Iron Bundle and Terrapagos. All the more reason to go for Tailwind in my opinion, right? So he brings that thing out here. Sun's good against Iron Bundle here, but he re-switches into Farigiraf. All right, I'm going to go Tailwind. I guess he wants to try and click Trick Room, all right? But listen, I could have clicked Knockoff there, but I didn't. Icy Wind does a ton of damage, okay, into all of this. But because I have Tailwind, I'm good. I'm going to go into Walking Wake here. Groudon, unfortunately, cannot pick up this Farigiraf KO, so I was a little bit sad about that. All right, but all in all, still okay. And this is where things get a little difficult because he does live. All right, so I have to protect the Walking Wake a little bit. Deagling comes out. Okay, he actually pretty much just ignores the Walking Wake here, to my surprise. But now we just remove everything with P-Blade. So good job, Groudon, not missing. The only problem now is a couple more turns with Trick Room. Here comes Sinistra and Terrapagos, right? So he goes for the Terra. This is where I make a mistake. I Terra'd the Walking Wake. I forget what Terrapagos can do here. So this is my fault here for doing this, especially in the face of that Terracialization. Okay, so I get blown up here, right? Because, you know, that's what Terra Starform does to a Terramon, right? So that's unfortunate for me. But here comes Incin, right? Now I have the ability to fake out, but I'm going to go into Roaring Moon here. Right, I'm going to try and reposition myself here. I know he protects, which is why I'm trying to go for the Sinistra in this case to try and deal some good chip damage. I understand Matcha Gotcha's coming out here. I don't want to lose the Groudon, right? That's the key. I want to preserve the Groudon as much as I can. Let Roaring Moon come in here and resist all this stuff. I decide to go for Will-O-Wisp, all right? I know he's going for Life Dew, right? But he goes for Rock Paws, which is actually insane. So that's a interesting tech move there. But now he's, you know, he's not at full health, which is good for me. I go for Knockoff. It doesn't kill him, but there's this Calm Mind. That's unfortunate. But because he's not Covert Cloak, I can go for this Parting Shot here and weaken him. And Groudon now has the speed advantage here. So this is good. I just have to hit the big P-Blades here. But there's the Knockoff. Goodbye, lefties. All right, P-Blades does remove the Sinistra and does pretty decent damage into Terrapagos. All right, I lose the Groudon, but Roaring Moon lives, which is very fortunate. I'm very fortunate there. Okay, and now I can do Incin stuff, and Incin looks like he can clean up here. So I'm very fortunate here. He protects, but that just helps me because now he's just taking a little bit more burn chip. Okay, the only problem is this Terrapagos is actually pretty bulky. All right, all things considered. I go for Knockoff there. He still lives, of course. And then Terra Starform, he crit my Incin, but that's still not enough to remove it because Incin is the GOAT. But again, this is why, again, for you Terrapagos lovers, this is why Covert Cloak is much better than Leftovers, and this is why you need Comfey and the Fake Out Bros to really help you in these games, right? Because he had nothing going for him. Okay, another idea that you can also consider is the Groudon Gouging Fire idea, along with Raging Bolt Snarl. So in this case, Groudon, again, with P-Blades is still pretty good. Now, I was running Rock Slide here. I was just testing it, but I still think Swords Dance is still okay, along with Howl, right? If anything, you can even consider Bulk Up now. So now you can get like the +2 attack with Howl and then also the defense. So you can even consider that. In fact, I will put that here, okay? And then from there, like, you also still have Swords Dance King Gambit. So, like, there's a lot of setup here. But, you know, this is why you need, you know, Breaking Swipe over here and, like, Snarl, AV, Raging Bolt, right? And here's the Amoonguss for the Trick Room idea. But also Flutter Mane here with Icy Wind Speed Control. But, again, here's what you're gonna do, right? Because you have booster energy Gouging Fire, you can also consider putting the clear amulet on the Gouging Fire instead, and then putting something like another item on Groudon, for example, right? Maybe even a citrus berry for that matter. But I still think this is okay because sometimes you just don't bring out the sun immediately and you still need the speed, you know, and leave Groudon in the back, right? So you can still do like Howl protect Swords Dance plays, right? You know, just like in Regulation F. You can still do Amoonguss stuff with the Groudon to protect it a little bit better. But then, of course, Raging Bolt gives you that really nice Kyogre matchup. And then with Snarl, along with Kingambit, now you have a pretty good Calyrex, both Ice Rider and even Shadow Rider, okay? And, you know, Amoonguss helps you there as well, right? And then I would probably just bring those four, you know, in those Trick Room Calyrex games as well, right? And then, look, Dragon, Fairy Steel, right? Fire Grass Core, right? But no water. This used to be what's that name? Water Ogre Pond, but I switched it out for Amoonguss. It just helps out a little bit better. It's just bulky. You know, Spore is really good. Helps you set up bulk ups and Swords Dances and Howls. So, you know, lots of good ideas here. So I would just consider this. Again, another idea if you want to do like Groudon Kingambit stuff, definitely consider that. I think it's another archetype and another way to play it. But yeah, that's my opinion on it. All right, so let's showcase again those three teams one more time. So again, this is like the standard Groudon stuff here with Raging Bolt, Calm Mind stuff. And again, this last slot here, you can put Farigiraf here. You can also do stuff like Bronzong or Porygon 2. You can do Grimmsnarl over here. You could do Chenpao over here. I think this is your flex slot on this core 5, right? You can also do this idea where you have Roaring Moon giving Groudon Tailwind along with a Trick Room setter like a Porygon 2 here or even a Bronzong. And then Walking Wake gives you, again, something else that you can use against Kyogre for that matter, but also gets enabled in the sun, doing lots of damage with Hydro Steam. That's his Hydro Pump, right? Yeah, I'm not blind. So let me go back there and let me refix that paste there, because that was not my intention. Wait, no, this does say Hydro Steam. Wait, then what is the Hydro? Wait, what? I'm confused. Hold on, let me just re-upload this. Okay, let's remove that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, but that's pretty much that idea with Walking Away. Hydro Steam, okay, and then of course the support Roaring Moon set over here. Then after that, again the Kingambit Gouging Fire idea, along with AV Raging Bolt with Snarl. I think this is also pretty good in terms of like good solid options for lots of different things. So it depends on how you want to play Groudon. Do you want Gouging Fire stuff? Do you want Raging Bolt Calm Mind stuff? Or do you want Walking Wake stuff, right? Now, there is other stuff that you can do, like Ogerpon Heart Flame. I think Ogerpon Heart Flame also does well with Groudon because it does more damage in the sun, you know, with your IV Cudgel. But these are just like some of the more common ideas that you can start off with Groudon, right? So let me know what you think. And again, if you need help with team building, if you're trying to get your regulationG, you know, teams on the get-go, and you're trying to compete in Indianapolis, that first regional, right? And you need some help, sign up for coaching on the channel. Tier 3 sub in the video description below, as well as in the pinned comment section, gets you a Discord call with me. We get to build you a squad that you enjoy, that you want, that you can use, okay, for whatever purpose you need it for. All right, but that's going to do it for now, folks. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out, and have a good one.